Yeah, thank you very much, Thomas. Welcome from our side. So as you see on the slide, it's Hakon for today, but as maybe most of you know, Hakon is a 100% subsidiary of Siemens Mobility. So you can say both, but for today we are Hakon. For today, so we are very happy to present you the cloud report on logistic networks. We are here as you see on the slide, so we are from the core team at Hakon. Jan Hildebrand is also in the team. For today, we agreed that I will present you the charts and Jan will step in whenever I forget something or if there are special questions tackled. Then, of course, and later on we will have a discussion. So I think we will all contribute here. Thank you also for the cloud report. Of course, it was not only us, it was also the BOOSTLOG team to contribute. It was Alice members contributing, and of course, quite many interview partners, so project coordinators and project participants contributing to the findings. So if we go to the next, I also have to. First of all, when we talk about logistic networks, of course, we have to understand what's the scope, and we specifically understand multimodal transport corridors and networks. For the topics and for the projects and solutions we are analyzing, we understand or we distinguish here between three levels. So first of all, we have the network infrastructure of different modes. We have the interfaces. So we're tackling services to operate these networks and interfaces and organizations. So we look to solutions from infrastructure managers and terminal operators. Then we have a second level, which are the transport services on these networks. So we tackle train operating companies, for instance, trucking companies, and also vessel operators. And in the third level, we look at logistics service and supply chain solutions. So we look to companies like forwarders, logistics service providers, and their services. For the present report, we focus on the services and the operations and not that much on the infrastructure management itself. If you go to the next. Of course, it's also an important question, why to improve logistic networks? So in our view, logistic networks are the one of the core of the BOOSTLOG project, or the core in the center of many activities. So, and capable logistic networks, in our understanding, are the backbone for economic development of countries and regions. So specifically, logistic networks ensure trade flows, they link transport modes, and they connect the long-haul operations with the cities and regions. And for the importance, or if we look to the operations, of course, again, we tackle all three levels that were presented before. So first level is the well-developed corridor and network infrastructure is important as a core for European wide freight transport. So in Europe, of course, we already have initiatives like TEN-T and the 9 core network corridors. We have the rail freight corridors which will be merged into the European transport corridors, and important are infrastructure standards, capacity, and operations. Then we have, of course, market-oriented transport systems which are needed to ensure modal shift. So we specifically look to rail and inland waterways as environmental friendly modes, and to also ensure the achievement of objectives for the European Green Deal. And at a third level, of course, capable logistic systems are needed to ensure well-functioning of intermodal supply chain. So as keywords, we have multimodality, synchromodality, but it's also important to ensure resilience and address the challenges which are coming up due to changing framework conditions. So Yanjing already mentioned some issues like global crisis and climate change issues. So if you go next. If we look to projects and solutions, of course, a main motivation is to generate improvements and measurable impacts. So in the BOOSTLOG approach, we address different KPIs which describe these impacts. You see on the right side quite a number of KPIs that we address, so I don't want to mention them all, but they can be grouped basically into 3 areas. So if we look on top, the green area are in the environmental impacts. Then we look to impact in the area of capacity and costs in blue, and we look to transport performance and connectivity in orange. When we look to projects and the outcomes, or we see there are different types of intervention areas which are to be addressed to generate impacts in the 3 mentioned areas. So we address intermodality and multimodality. Secondly, operations and processes. Third, digitalization, transport management and transport services. Network capacity management with the capacity allocation itself, but also information and processes about capacity restrictions. We have the issue of contingency management, and finally, last mile operations, so the interfaces between long haul and regional distribution. So we go to the next. What's also important to address is that if we look to the outcomes, that the well-functioning of logistic networks is also connected with different barriers, and of course all solutions need to take into account real life operation requirements to really generate the impact. In this context, I just want to mention shortly that we the first area we identified here are climate change risk. So we see in the past disruptions to service operations due to climate events. And so extreme weather events. So it's important to take into account a rising number of climate events. Then we have the diversity and insufficiency level of infrastructure and technical standards. So if we look also to TEN-T, we have clear goals, but in reality, the standards are quite diverse in different countries and areas. As a third area, we have socio-economic developments, for instance, energy scarcity, and also the deindustrialization, and also problems for the development of large infrastructure, e.g. to citizen resistance. And as a fourth area, we have increasing operational problems. You can see it due to construction sites or other issues. So again, as said, it's to really achieve the full benefit of solutions, it's important to address all these barriers and challenges. So now we come to the next slide. So you have seen in the previous presentation, you have seen another slide of this. So this displays the process that we have performed when elaborating the cloud report. So basically, we have done the mapping of past research, European research project. We have identified outcomes and implementation cases. In the process, we involved quite a number of experts with the help of interviews and workshops. And at the end of the process, we had a webinar to consolidate all the findings and input, and then based on this, elaborated the cloud report in its final version. I am happy now to present you some findings of these activities done in the cloud report. So we have done it, or it's all based on a huge a database of research projects. So you see on top that there are around 300 projects in this list. I think meanwhile we have more than 300 projects. We have to identify the most relevant projects in relation to logistic networks. We have applied different filters. So in the first filter step, we looked to the project name and to different primary filter criteria to identify those projects which are in the area, or most probably in the area of logistic networks. We have then looked to relevance criteria, so to look in a little bit more detail to the scope of the project, and then came from the 115 projects identified in the first filter to 46 projects. And then in the third step, we looked to the expected impact. So you remember the chart before presented the three areas on environmental issues, on capacity issues, and operational issues. Then we looked to focus also in relation to other clouds, so that we prevented the overlapping. So at the end, we had 17 projects identified, which are related to logistic networks, and which are likely include solutions addressed to the topic. Of course, it has to be noted, as said, that we have within BOOSTLOG that we have other clouds, for instance, on data sharing, cooperation, collaboration, logistic nodes, and modularity. So these clouds also include projects which might achieve to logistic networks operations. So the next. You see here the names and logos of the 17 projects subdivided to the different research projects. So as also said by Yan Ying, we looked quite far back into the past, so to see the entire development of outcomes from the project. So we started in FP5 and identified 2 projects. As you see, we have 3 projects from FP6, and then it's getting more. So with 5 projects FP7, and also 7 projects under Horizon 2020. If you go to the next. out of the 70 projects, we identified 29 outcomes. So they are related in different areas. So we have outcomes in the area of technology development. We have found outcomes in the area of business models, in policy actions and recommendations, and service and products. As a main focus here was to look to implementations. We as explained, there are not so many identified. Therefore, we distinguished two different types of implementation. So first of all, and this was the main goal, to identify implementation cases which are still in practice today, and so which survives the project lifetime and have an impact also today, or which have been developed in subsequent products. And in the second, so we have 5 implementation cases identified. But in the second layer, we also looked to implementations and temporary operations during the project time or after, where the functioning of the solution could be demonstrated, but which were not further followed until today due to non-favorable framework conditions, due to missing business concepts or to missing markets. If we go, what we would like to do now is, and I see the time is already quite advanced, to give at least some short insights on on the 5 implementation cases we found here. So I would say already now congratulations to all the parties developed this, because as you see, out of 300 projects, this number is not quite huge, and so it's already a great achievement to be involved and develop such implementation cases. We go next. So I would think we can skip this for the moment and leave this for the discussion later. So because as said, there are some obstacles, but all these implementation cases managed to bypass these obstacles and be successful already today. So the first one is the ReTrack network. So this is an outcome which has been developed within FP6 within a project with the same name. So it was the goal to develop rail-based transport system as an alternative to single wagon load transport. Some key aspects which for this system were flexibility. So it facilitates transport of different size and different types of goods. And another core aspect I took note is multiple measures to ensure cost efficiency of the solution. It started on a corridor between Köln and Hungary with an antenna to Rotterdam. As you see on the left picture, today, most huge economic areas in Europe are covered, and it's with 3 corridors tackled compared to the first corridor developed in the project. Within the project, so it was Transpetrol as a transport operator, and now it's operated by VTG, and I hope that a colleague is in the meeting. When we go next, we have here a solution from Green Project, also FP6. It was a sister project of ReTrack, in fact. So it deals with a multimodal short sea rail transport service between Turkey and Germany via further to other regions via Trieste. a main reason to develop such service was a poor quality of rail-based transport in this on these corridors. And this led to the fact so that it's still a success. So it's further extended since project and also adapted by other companies. For instance, I think the colleagues are on the call and they might have some more words on the solution. Then the next one is another solution within Green project. So in fact, it was developed by us, Hakon, together with Kombiverkehr. It's a train monitoring system which answered the information gap that time on this corridor and in general. And it's a system which integrates multiple sources for train tracking information. It has estimated time of arrival information that time already and multiple features to exchange other information and to elaborate quality statistics, etc. It was one of the first systems receiving information from the Railnet Europe's train information system, by the way, in TAF TSI. Then we have the next. The Tiger and Tiger Demo projects were developed in FP7. We have here the Intermodal Network 2015 plus demonstrator by Kombiverkehr. So the main idea is here to bundle transport flows from different terminals to via a central hub. It's a quite complex system, so which requires very accurate planning and operations procedures. So there are a number of operational and technical components involved. And for the status today, we can say so. It was demonstrated within Tiger in München, and since start of the Mega Hub in Hannover Lehrte, it's operational since 2 years and continuously extended. So on the left side, you see the status of January 2023 with connected terminals which are connected by Hannover Lehrte. And then the last case comes from a project of Horizon 2020, the Smart Rail project. So the Smart Rail project aimed to improve freight rail services to ensure reliability, lead times, cost, flexibility, visibility. It includes 3 continuous improvement tracks, so it's called, and this specific outcome was established on the Rotterdam-Genoa at the border between Germany and the Netherlands. So the cross-border dispatcher is a function established which connects the operation centers of the 2 infrastructure managers to optimize dispatching decisions, so involving both parties, and to bundle information flows to IUs. So in fact, we consider this as not a high technical innovation, but a process innovation which is considered as very effective. So these are the 5 cases. Now I see I was a little bit longer, unfortunately, but I think there are still more things you could say about all these outcomes and implementation cases. For this, I would recommend you to read the report. I think it should be available, so maybe Thomas or others can say something about this, how to get this report.